Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way, and it's time to do our 2024-25 Championship predictions for the forthcoming season. Now, of course, I'm a Watford fan, so expect some biased predictions from me. It's just a laugh, don't take it too seriously. And yeah, let's get straight into it. And you can see I've already put my relegation candidates in there, and I've gone with Queen's Park Rangers, Preston North End, and Portsmouth. There's literally no meaning behind these predictions whatsoever. My knowledge of other Championship clubs aside from Watford is very limited, but there is a little bit of meaning behind the QPR prediction. Actually, I feel like they've been in and around the relegation spots for quite a while now. I think they've lost Chris Willock, Sinclair Armstrong's on his way out as well, albeit I don't really rate him that highly. But they've lost a few key players. I don't think they've really replaced them adequately, at least in my opinion. So I definitely think QPR will be down there, and if not relegated, as you can see with my predictions. Preston North End, again, in recent seasons, they've not astounded me. They've not impressed me too much, really. So I think Preston, will be in and around there. They might not get relegated, of course, when it comes to the end of the season in May, but I do think that they may be in and around them positions. And then Portsmouth, I'm sorry to say, obviously newly promoted from League One. I think the first time in the championship for quite a long time for Portsmouth. But it's not going to be a very good time for you guys, at least in my opinion anyway. So I've put you guys in that dreaded 24th position. But who knows what will happen. Sheffield Wednesday last season were really, really poor up until Danny Roll came in and he kind of rescued them. And ultimately they survived, didn't they? Just a couple of games prior to the end of the season, which was fantastic for them. And it was great to watch from an outsider looking in. And I thought Sheffield Wednesday were destined for relegation at one point, but they managed to save themselves through the magic of a great manager in Danny Roll, of course. Now, let's move on to where it gets more interesting. And obviously, we're going in reverse order, 15th to 21st, 7th to 14th. The playoff positions, and then first to second, of course, in them automatic promotion positions as well. So who do I think is going to struggle this season? I think Watford will struggle this season, actually. I'm not going to put Watford in 21st position. We'll move it around a little bit. But I think, speaking as a Watford fan myself, we've had such a poor summer transfer window so far. I mean, there's gaping holes in the squad that we need to fill. We haven't done so. Key players are rumoured to be leaving in Yasser Isprilla and Wesley Hu. Will Watford replace them? I have no idea whatsoever. It's not looking good. We've brought in 4 players so far as I record this video on the 28th of July. And those players are Antonio Tikvic, a player who played for Udinese in one professional game last season. Jonathan Bond, who is a backup, aging goalkeeper coming towards, the latter end of his career. And then we've brought in Musa Sissoko, an aging midfielder, and Rocco Vata, who is quite an exciting forward. So we've had a mixed transfer window. It's not looking great for Watford this season. The squad, is not up to the standards, in my opinion. I know a lot of people would put Watford higher in a normal season, but under Gino Pozzo, in these last few years, we've gone really downhill. So, yeah, enough waffling about Watford, but I do think Watford will be towards the bottom end of the table and maybe potentially even in the relegation places. We'll have to see what transpires. I'm going to go Oxford in there as well, actually. I think Oxford might survive this season, relatively local to where I live. But I do think they'll struggle, as with most newly promoted teams usually, other than Ipswich, of course, last season, which were kind of an anomaly in that aspect. I think Oxford, Portsmouth, Derby, I think they'll be down there come the end of the season. I think Derby will be the next club I put in that gap, actually. Oxford, Derby, Portsmouth, all similar, sized teams. Well, Derby probably slightly bigger than both of them, but I do think, all three of them, coming up will struggle, unfortunately, for their fans this season. So I've gone Watford, Oxford, Derby. How many do I have to choose here? 15th to 23rd. So I can choose, what, 6 or 7 teams for these positions. Who else have we got here? We've got Stoke, got Sunderland, Blackburn, actually, might struggle. We've got Sheffield Wednesday, Cardiff, Millwall. So I'm missing out on a few big teams here, actually. Well, Watford face Millwall opening day of the season, but I think Millwall actually have a few decent players. They brought in Macaulay Longstaff. Zian Fleming is a player I really like as well. So I think Millwall might do better than many people anticipate. I don't know. I'll put Millwall above Watford for now. So we'll put them in there for now. And of course we can move these all around at the end if I'm not happy with a few sections. I need to put Cardiff in, Sheffield Wednesday, Blackburn. I don't think we'll do too great. I'm gonna go for Sheffield Wednesday to finish above Watford. That's a big shout. Watford, spent 5 consecutive seasons in the Premier League not too long ago. I think this shows our downfall really in recent seasons. The fact I'm putting a team like Sheffield Wednesday ahead of Watford and Millwall for that matter as well. But I think Watford have been so poor. So for me, this is pretty good going so far from a Watford perspective. If we finish as we are in and around these positions, Cardiff, Blackburn, I think we need to put in at some stage, and I think the rest of the teams are looking pretty strong that we have to put on the rest of this tier list. I think Blackburn will struggle. I'll go Blackburn just above Derby. And I think we can fit one more team in, can't we, in here? I'm going to go for Cardiff. I'll go Cardiff to finish above Oxford United. So far, we've got Portsmouth, Preston and QPR to go down. Then we've got Derby, Blackburn, Oxford, Cardiff, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday and Millwall to finish between 15th and 21st. And now, looking at the teams we have left, let me just scroll down so you can see them all on your screen here. There we go. We've got Luton, we've got Burnley, Sheffield United, obviously recently coming down from the Premier League. All 3 of Luton, Burnley and Sheffield have just come down actually from the Premier League. So they do have that sweet parachute money, of course. Swansea, the big team from Wales in there. Leeds, unfortunately for them, they didn't make it up last season. West Brom, they've been stuck down here for a while in the Championship, as have Norwich, Hull, Borough. Coventry, very well run club, Coventry. I'll put them right up there towards them playoff positions when we come to it. And then we've got the last few teams, Stoke, Sunderland and Plymouth. So let's get straight back to it for our predictions, 7th to 14th. So these are teams who are going to be comfortable and may have a decent run at them playoff positions. Now, straight away, I think Stoke, will struggle this season. That they're what I call a legacy Premier League team, a bit like Watford, West Brom, Norwich. They've been in that top division before. They've been relegated and really struggled to get back to the big time. So Stoke for me, straight in there. Plymouth, again, I don't think they'll do particularly well this season, albeit Morgan Whittaker was a player I really enjoyed watching last year, actually. But, they did struggle, actually, towards the end of last season. So, maybe towards the end of this predictor, I might put Plymouth a little bit lower and replace another team with them. We'll have to see. And I think Sunderland will continue on with the good progress they've made, but I don't think they'll maybe finish as high as last year. So I'll probably put them above Plymouth and above Stoke, actually. I think Sunderland will have a decent go, but I don't think they'll make it to the playoff positions this time round. Bristol City are a team, actually, who I really enjoy now. They used to have a player called Alex Scott, who they brought through their youth program. I believe he's over at Bournemouth now. They poached him from Bristol City, but they're always a solid outfit, Bristol City. You kind of know what you're going to get from them. Nigel Pearson, of course, formerly of Watford, was their manager for a good period of time as well. So I've always enjoyed watching Bristol City. One of my work colleagues is a Bristol fan as well, so I always enjoy talking to him about Bristol and kind of their aspirations for the coming season. So yeah, they're an interesting prospect for me, Bristol. They certainly could have a good go, albeit in the past, 2-3 seasons, they've always stayed, around 11th, 12th in the table, haven't they? Swansea City, actually, I've completely forgot to put into this prediction so far. And I think I might replace them, actually. I don't think Swansea are going to do particularly well. Um, I mean, maybe even relegation fodder. I don't think they're that bad. But I might replace them with... this is going to be hard. I'm going to replace them with one of these teams in 15th to 21st. Actually, we'll leave Swansea till the end. Because I'm still completely undecided about where Swansea City will finish this season. So we'll leave them until the very end. How many more teams have we got? 7 to 14. So we've got, 7, 8 teams to put in these positions. So 4 more to go. And there's some big teams in here. As I said, Coventry, Borough, Hull, Norwich, West Brom. Let's put Swansea in for now. Let's just put them in, and then we can move them around if we have to. Hull City, they've lost a few players. Ozan Tufan's left, I believe. They've had kind of a mass exodus of players actually moving to bigger and better things. I don't think Hull will maybe do as good as they did last year. Borough, again, they're a team who, very rarely impress me. They're a bit mediocre. So I'll put Borough in kind of that mid-table position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many teams have we got left? We've got the playoff teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, right. Okay, so we've got one more team to put in the 7th to 14th spots. I'll go Coventry, actually, the top end of that. So I'll go Coventry 7th as it stands. Coventry, they've been so unlucky to not get promoted in the past couple of seasons. I remember the playoff final against Luton very well, of course, because I wanted Coventry to go up over Watford's arch rivals. And I think they may just miss out this year. Maybe it's going to be a step too far, especially looking at the teams that we have left to put in. And there's a lot of money and a lot of legacy Premier League teams in there. You can see the likes of Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, massive fan base and following behind Leeds, of course. West Brom, Norwich in there as well. So some big teams left to put into this tier list. The playoff positions. Now we're going to put 4 teams in here, and then of course the automatic promotion places. And I think this tier list is shaping up quite nicely, actually. Now, of course, feel free to disagree in the comment section down below, but I'm quite content with how this tier list has gone so far. And just before the end, we may rejig a few teams around depending on how I think it looks. But the 4 teams to compete in the playoff positions, this is where it gets really, really interesting. I don't think Luton will get the automatics, but I do think Luton, I'm sorry to say, Watford fans, I think they'll be in the playoffs, actually. I think, you look at Luton, in recent seasons compared to Watford, the downfall of Watford has been incredible, and the uprising of Luton, unfortunately for me, has been fantastic. And they poached one of Watford's managers who ultimately got them promoted to the Premier League, which is great for them to rub in our faces. So Luton Town, they've retained pretty much the entirety of their squad from last season, bar 1 or 2 whose contracts have expired and they've left on free transfers. Ross Barkley's gone off to Aston Villa, of course. But aside from that, they've pretty much retained the core, the big core of the squad that got them promoted just a couple of seasons ago. So I think Luton Town will definitely be in the mix. I'm going to go with West Brom as well in their playoff positions. Again, a legacy Premier League team. They've been up there before, of course, in the Prem, but in recent years they've just not managed to make it over the line and get back up. So I think West Brom well-run club again. Will be in and around the playoff positions, and I think they got taken over just last year as well, if I'm not mistaken in saying that, by new ownership. Now I don't know if they're any good, but you'd think they'd invest, into the club, into the infrastructure, into the squad as well. So I'll put West Brom in and around the playoff positions. And then we've got 4 teams left, which are Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, and Norwich City. Right. Okay. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Leeds. And I'm going to go with Norwich, which makes up the playoff positions. These are the teams who are going to finish between 3rd and 6th position, who obviously compete to play at Wembley in the playoff final. Now, again, these are just my predictions. It's a bit of a laugh. Don't take them too seriously. But I think Luton will be in there, definitely. I'm sorry to say. West Brom, Leeds, Norwich. I think Leeds are the team for me who, could end up having, a really fantastic season. They could be right up there towards the top end of the table. But yeah, seeing Leeds capitulate last season has me concerned actually for them going forward. Of course, losing big players, they have to start selling players who have been on big Premier League wages, so they will lose out on a few players. But again, they still retain the parachute money, which is a key aspect in the division, of course. So I think Leeds will be right up there. And now it's just about choosing who I think will reign victorious this season in the Championship in 1st and 2nd position. And the 2 teams left to choose from are Burnley and Sheffield United. And I'm going to go with Burnley to win the whole division and Sheffield United to come 2nd. Now, I could look like a right idiot here. I don't know. We'll find out when May comes round in 2025. But I think Burnley will have another great go at it. They invested highly in youth players the last time, of course, they were in the Championship under Vincent Kompany. Now, Vincent Kompany's style of football at Burnley ultimately didn't transpire to Premier League football, and ultimately they got relegated again, quite comfortably. But if they retain some of that youth, develop that youth, and still add to that with a bit of Championship experience, I think Burnley will quite comfortably, make it into them top 2 positions. Sheffield United are an interesting one. I think they could be maybe lower down potentially, but I was never going to put Luton, Leeds, or Norwich in 2nd because I'm not really a fan of any of them teams at all. So I think I'm satisfied with what I've done actually. So let's run through before we end the video my full predictions. I think I'll keep it as it is actually. I'm not too dissatisfied with the tier list we've got. So we'll start off with our relegation candidates in Portsmouth, Preston North End, and Queen's Park Rangers. We then move on to the bottom end of the Championship table in Derby County, Blackburn Rovers, Oxford United, Cardiff City, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, and then Millwall. And then moving up to the comfortable mid-table positions, maybe challenging for the playoffs. We've gone with Swansea, Borough, Hull City. I'll put a bit higher actually because I do think they still have quality in there. Sunderland, Bristol, and Coventry. The playoff positions, I've gone with Norwich City, Leeds United, West Bromwich Albion, Luton Town, and then to finish 1st and 2nd, I've gone with Burnley and Sheffield United. So let me know if you agree with my predictions in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to The Watford Way, and we'll catch you again for another video very soon. Bye-bye.